All right, so the last thing we did is we exported a color ID map. We exported our mesh, and we did the UV layout so we could get all that. Let's go ahead and go into Quixel Mixer and create a new project. So we're going to click New Mix. We'll call this one Apple. And let's keep the resolution at 4096 and click OK. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to, where it says type plane, we're going to change it to a custom model. And we're going to choose the Apple model. Finally, we're going to change the texture settings, edit texture set, and we're going to use that that material ID map we created by clicking here, going into our documents, and I believe it was this one right here for me. And you can see the two colors are there. All right, so now we got just nothing, right? So let's kind of start off by going into our local library. See what we got. I got this one called Scratched Polyinliprodylene. Oh my goodness. So just go online and look up Scratched and Poly and hit enter, and hopefully, change it from all types to a surface. No, yes. Scratched Poly. I'm not seeing it here. Let's just see here if we just type in Scratched, if you guys can find that. And I'm looking for polyvinyl. So it's a green one, and you don't have to pick the exact same one, but we're looking for something like, I don't know. That's not really what I'm looking for. What if I look up vinyl? No, I'm not seeing it. I'm wondering if I'm not seeing it because it's like already in here, or if it's because maybe you don't see it if you already have it downloaded. I don't know. Just look up, let's just look up plastic. There it is. Yeah, there it is. Okay, if you look up plastic, you'll see it's green. And let's add that to, by double clicking, you can add that to your Apple. You'll notice that it's on the branch, right? And we only want it to be on the Apple itself, but we'll get to that in just a second. Now let's go ahead and put some wood up here. So if you have wood already downloaded, go ahead and use that. I'm going to use this wooden panel, plywood. I'm going to just use this wood right here. And it looks like this. All right. Now let's take a second to make sure that our materials are only going where we want them to go. And this is why we took the time to make a material ID. If you right click on wood and you go to add ID mask, you should be able to choose the bright green one, and it'll only apply to the stem. Now let's click on the material. So that was the mask. Let's click on the material, and if you go into placement, you can rotate the mask to get the grains to the direction that you need them to go. And I'm not really seeing much change there. Let's change our scale. Let's bring it really, really small so we can really see what's going on here. And now let's try rotating it so that the grains are kind of going. Okay. That's sort of working. I guess that kind of looks like a stem. Now I'm going to go in and make the color of it. So if I click on albedo, which is the color, I can actually make it darker, make it look a little bit more like a stem. I don't really like these little black spots right here, but I think if I go into albedo, I can maybe pull the contrast down, and that should get rid of some of that. And this is what we're left with. Maybe I want a little bit more contrast. There. All right, that'll do for an apple stem. I think that's fine. Next thing we're going to do is we have this really shiny green material, and that's pretty cool. But if you want your apple to be a different color, let's come down here, and we can again set a ID mask. This time it's the bright red, but it doesn't really matter because there's nothing It's underneath it, so it's not really going to apply anyway. Okay, now we come back to the material and let's change the albedo. Do you want your apple to be red? Let's say that we do want our apple to be red. So there it is. That is a vivid, bright red apple. I click apply. The roughness, black is as shiny as can be. White is as rough as can be. So I would say let's try to find a spot where it looks like an apple. And that's going to be kind of up to you. But I'm looking at some pictures of apples and I'm looking at the reflections. And I would say something in this range kind of feels apple-y to me. So let's click apply. The normals are there to kind of give it some, oh, looks like we're getting some wood normals on here. I wonder why that is. Let's see what's going on. That shouldn't be happening. Get that mask there. Actually, I have no clue why. Oh, because if there's no normals underneath it, it'll add one to, okay, don't worry about it. So yeah, we'll leave all that stuff alone. And, oh, I still want my branch a little darker. I thought I made it a little darker than that. Okay. Back to here. Let's paint this. So it looks apple-y now, but let's make it really look like an apple. So we're going to go into here and we're going to add a paint layer, which is this paintbrush. And I'm going to get the size of my brush up, and I'm going to get, I'm just like this. Or maybe not quite that intense, but I'm going to get some like kind of, I don't know, look at a picture and decide for yourself. Let's turn off metalness, let's turn off roughness, let's turn off displacement. We're just going to paint the color on this map. So I'm going to go in with maybe, I'm trying to match it as best I can. It's kind of yellowish. And let's start off up here. And you see that comes out very fast. So let's turn the flow down. And come in the bottom here. And now I'm going to just make my brush a little bit smaller. So let's get the size of the brush over here, and we can kind of like do some streaky things here. I kind of feel like I don't want to take the time to make this a super streaky thing. So I'm just gonna pull my flow down really low, and I'm just gonna bring my size really high, and I'm just gonna kind of do maybe a little bit of this, just kind of here and there. It's a nice soft brush, so just give it a little bit of imperfection, so it's not just like perfectly red. It doesn't look like a candy. Unless you wanted to, I don't know, maybe just do a little of this just for the practice, the experience. And yeah, in the top and the bottom, they're going to be a little bit more of that going on. And maybe we can even come in, let's say there's some dirt, and like, let's come in with some dark colors, like some dark brown. And maybe I'll even bump my roughness up so I can go to my roughness channel and make it really rough right here. So let's get our brush small. And just smaller, higher flow. It's going that slow. I'm going to pull my flow up a little higher. All right. Something like that. Let's go even darker right there in the middle. All right, so that's kind of a dirty little spot right there, and you can see it's a little less shiny right there. Same thing on the bottom if you want to do that. Okay, so we got this dark spot down there and up here. Cool, that is our apple. There are a bunch of white dots all over the apple, so how could we do that? Well, just turn off your roughness. We're just dealing with color now, so albedo, which is the color, white, and then you could pull your brush nice and small, pull the flow up pretty high, and you can even add a little bit of like size jitter, so it kind of is not always the same. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, that's very, very small. I need my size to be up a little higher. I don't know what size it should be for you. It's kind of dependent upon your Apple. But I could pull my flow down a little bit. And my size is probably going to be around 20. So boom. Just throw a little bit of those dots around there because they tend to have these. If you feel like that's too intense, which mine probably is, I'm just going to pull my flow down even lower, maybe like 5%. And so they're going to be a little less in your face. They're going to be subtle. But we get these nice little white dots. There's a lot of them. So again, make sure it's not too intense. Keep that flow down. If you want to shift your light, just hold down Shift and right click, and you should be able to do that. Shift, right click, and drag. All right. So there we have it. There is our apple, and we are ready to bring this into Unreal. And it's actually quite simple. Oh, there's a few spots right there that I was painting and the branch kind of got in the way. I should have, I don't know, I guess I can't really turn that off. Oh well, I could go in there and fix it, but time. To get this in Unreal, you're going to go to Export. You're going to go to, we want the albedo, which is the color, the roughness, the normals. We'll talk about that later. Displacement, ambient occlusion, and metalness. I don't think we need displacement or ambient occlusion, but whatever, it's fine. We're going to set the sizes to 4096 to give us that nice high resolution. Export to disk. And it says the location right here. So I want to put this in my documents before I do this, before I go any further. And oh, actually, you can go straight to, you can even go straight to Unreal. If you go into custom here, you can go straight to Unreal by going to, like for mine, it's in the E drive. Unreal Projects, JGNLE Content. And then if you want to put it like in a subfolder, you can do that. Let's put it in one called Apple. Select, and I could even click Export Model, so that'll put the model there as well. And I'm done. Now I go into Unreal, open it up, and we'll take a look at that.